Hey guys, welcome to a new episode of Lit Up and in Flow. Cass, how are we feeling today?
Oh my gosh, I am feeling so excited for our third episode of the pod. I know that this is going to be such a juicy topic that we're going to be talking about today.
Yes, I know we've
How
had
are
a
you
little bit of
feeling?
a break, but I'm so excited. It feels good to get back behind the mic again and have some deeper conversations. I feel like I've been craving it. Um,
Absolutely.
But basically, today we are going to be talking about how we prepare our businesses for the new year, how we stay motivated, and really kind of break down things that we are doing personally in our business, in our lives to make 2025 I don't want to say the best year yet because I hate that, but just going full steam ahead and making sure that, we are aligned with our desires, our businesses, our goals, and we continue to have a happy life. But before we get stuck in, Cass, what's been going on in your life lately?
Oh my gosh, so much. Well, since we last spoke, I have made the move to the Gold Coast with my partner Brogan and our dog Pickles. And oh my gosh, it is actually wild how different the lifestyle is down here. It's day six. Of living at the Gold Coast. And my morning routine looks a lot different. It is now a beach walk every morning with Pickles, getting coffee and just kind of sitting at the ocean and doing a little meditation. And yeah, it's just so fun exploring, I think, especially when you're living in a place where there's lots happening, and we're at Broad Beach. So there's just so much to do and see and explore and adventure. And I'm so here for it.
You're in the hub of Gold Coast when you're in Broady as well.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm actually so jealous that you get to go to the beach every day.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And there's just so much food around. I mean, we are massive foodies. So
yeah,
it's going to be expensive. I'm not going to lie. But
yes.
do you know what? Some things in life are worth spending money on. And for us, that is food. So
Food is one of them. I completely agree with that. Most of our, I don't want to say leftover money, but most of our money goes to food for Alistair and I as well. You gotta
Amazing.
Live.
This is why we're friends.
Yeah. I love people who love food.
Yes, exactly. But
So
it's just been unpacking and finishing up client work for the year and projects. And there's been a lot
done? Are you done with client work now?
No, I'm not done yet. We've got Monday. The team finish up on Monday. It's our last day. So yeah, we've got quite a lot on today and Monday, and then we are done. And I'm going to be so excited for that moment.
And how long are you taking off? Are you taking weeks?
Yeah, I'm going to take a couple of weeks off. I mean, we're business owners, so is there such a thing? I don't know. But yes, I'm going to try and intentionally at least take some solid time off of client work. I think that's the stuff that, when you feel like you have to do it, it's totally different to sitting there and doing goal planning for the year for your business, or all the fun stuff that it is actually so fun to sit down and spend half a day mapping something out for the next year, revisiting your offers. I mean, I personally love doing that stuff. So yeah,
I know you do. You nerd out on that.
Yeah, oh my gosh, so much. And I know that you do too. And what have you been up to in the last week?
Same. Oh, well, not moving to the Gold Coast, obviously, but tying up client work. I literally sent my last client gallery just before we hopped on. So that felt so good, and it's all been approved. The client is stoked, which means I'm stoked. We've really ended the year on a high, which is really nice because last year we didn't. We had not a nice client last year. So this year is very nice to be we love it. Everything looks so good. I'm oh, this is what I do. But yeah, we're going to take a month off. It's funny because I put an out of office on and I was we will be back on the 6th of January. And I was why? Why would I do that? I don't want to do that. And Alistair was babe, we're taking a month off. I'm yeah, we are. Okay. So I changed it to the 20th. I was we're business owners. We can do what we want.
That's the real flex right there. Being Literally, I love that in the moment you're like, oh, put the 6. And then Alice is like, babe, no, let's just take a month. And you're like, okay. And that freedom to be able to just be like, yeah, okay, go on then. You've twisted my arm. Let's take a month off. Like,
that's my old corporate brain being like, you get 2 weeks off over Christmas and then you're going to go back into work and be available to clients. I'm like, I just don't know. I don't want to. So I had to catch myself there. So I guess like that's kind of a good segue into today's topic is how we're preparing, firstly, by taking a whole month off and, you know, creating a little bit of space in the business. And that kind of leads me to like, I guess our first question, because I believe that space helps you grow instead of working 24/7, the hustle, the grind, which I know some people preach. If you just work more hours, if you just work harder, then you'll see results. But I honestly believe that if you create more space and you, work less, then your business grows as a result of that. So I guess for you, like, how do you create space in your business? And I'm assuming you feel the same because we're pretty aligned on everything.
Yes. Is this a bad time to mention? I'm actually such a bro marketer. Hustle culture for the win. No.
You had me going for like 1 second.
You'd be like, oh shit, like maybe we should have had this conversation before we started a podcast. But no, I think honestly, like I'm so on board with what you just said, but I've struggled with actually getting to that place. And I'm, I guess, like very open about the fact like it still like needs a lot of work. And on paper, I really want to have this like open mental capacity and be saying no to all the opportunities that don't align and protecting my mental capacity. But some days I'm really good at it. And some days I'm like, well, I can't take a break because I literally have so many client videos that I need to watch and review so that I'm not the bottleneck in my own process. And so, yeah, it's back on the list for next year. And each year I get better and better at it. And it helps when the business feels more aligned. But it definitely is something that it's number one for me to keep working at. And I think it just takes time. I think it's a combination of having a business model that supports that, the right offers, the right clients that you've got coming in, the right price point, so you're not having to take on more work. And then also you like creating that space intentionally in your day-to-day. And that's something I really look at you and Alistair and the business that you've created. And I can see how much you guys have got your business to that point. And honestly, that's all the inspiration that I need to like keep going, because I'm like, oh man, like that, honestly, I'm so like, I think it's incredible what you guys have achieved in that perspective. And I think
so saying no is a struggle.
Yeah. Saying no sometimes. Yeah. And just managing my time so that I don't feel like there's just so much on my list that I need to get to in terms of client not being the bottleneck in my own process. So I think it's a bit of, dialing in the systems a bit better, saying no to the wrong clients and just kind of prioritizing my breath work and my walks and self-care and just keep doing the thing.
I feel like it took me a really long time though to get to that point in our business though, and I still struggle to say no to inquiries, especially when they're like, oh, we love your work and we really want to work with you, and it's like you can't. I think too it's like, actually someone did ask this question when I post questions to the community, and it was around when opportunities come up versus personal life things. So say you've got something in your personal life going on, but there's a business opportunity that's come up. Like, how do you maintain that balance between your personal life and your business life? And I feel like for me, like this year, like 2024, I just focused heavily on personal life stuff, whereas previously I haven't. It was all about building the business and really trying to get enough money to pay for the property that we now live in. But I was like, You know the Stacey. Do you remember the Stacey Orico song? There's gotta be more to life. Do you remember that?
Yeah. I cannot wait to see where this story's going.
But well, that was kind of like the thinking around.
Yeah.
There's more to life than just like running your business and earning money. And when I focused, I just really want to focus a lot on obviously both the wedding this year and like having that milestone in my life, which was the best day ever. And it was funny because around the wedding time, we had inquiries come through from like brands that I was like, well, this is a really cool brand. Like, but I can't work with you because I'm getting married. And you've got to turn those opportunities down. But it's like at the end of the day, it's just another project with another brand, and opportunities are going to come again in the future. So yeah, I think like it comes down to values, and we had this conversation around values as well. It's like, what do you value most at any given time in your life and in your business? And those values will change. And I feel like I always come back to my values about what I prioritize.
That's so good. That's so good. If you and that's what we're talking about. Like building a business around your values means that if you're always got that kind of like that North Star that you're coming back to, it just makes decisions so much easier. And if somebody doesn't align, like if your gut is telling you that, hey, this client is actually not aligned with my values, okay, cool. That's an easy decision. And then saying no is potentially the harder part, but the decision's made.
Yeah. And I feel like everything that comes through is like, how does this align with what I want? And again, I know we had the conversation about what, like, taking stock of what you personally want, not what social media tells you to want kind of thing. Because it's so, I know I get caught up in that whole like, oh, I should want this, and like, oh, other people are achieving this and maybe I should want that too. And it's like, nah. Yeah.
And so is that part of your process? Like it's coming to the end of the year, like you're going into a new one. Like what is your process for setting yourself up like goals wise and for your business?
You know, it's funny. I usually do goals every year. So just before New Year comes around, I'll sit down and I'll map out like what I want to achieve for the next year, and I'll write a list of things. I didn't do it last year, and I don't feel like I have it on my radar to do it again this year. And it's because I'm not going to say it's because I don't know what I want. I think it's more of like I just want more of what I have, if that makes sense. Because I don't feel like
doing that. Like from doing it versus not doing it, if you compare the results of those years versus like the change in process, like do you feel like it's been beneficial for you to not goal plan?
For business, I'm going to say yes. Because I actually kind of feel like I lack a little bit of clarity on what I want in business, just because I feel like I have achieved so much. And I'm like, well, what do I want next? What do I want now? How do I want to run my business in congruency with my lifestyle? And I'm very much a lifestyle first person. So I'm like, how do I want to, prioritize my health? What kind of activities do I want to do in my day-to-day? How do I want to feel in my day-to-day? And how does my business support that? But I just have general, like, I guess it's just in my head. I'm like, oh, it'd be cool to do some more makeup brands next year. Like that's a goal that I guess that I have, but maybe I'll write that down. Maybe I should write that down, start manifesting it, because we don't do a lot of makeup products and that would be really fun. And that's kind of the only goal that I thought of so far for the business.
I feel like this is such a reflection of, in the best way, of your mindset in life at the moment, where you're just like, yeah, you know what? Let's just see where it goes. Like, it's just so easy. Like if I think about the way I look at you, it feels like easeful. And I think that is just a reflection of that as well. Like you're not in a hustle era. You're not in in like struggle street in any way. You are literally just like, you know what? It's pretty good. I'm just going to see what my intuition says.
I'm in a trying to regulate my nervous system era. I'm just like, we need to not stress and be anxious for most
Not
of
put
the
pressure
time.
on.
Yeah, taking the pressure off a lot. Yeah, I feel like a big priority is calming the nervous system now. I think that's been a main thing. What about you though?
100
Like how
Yeah.
are you finding clarity for yourself for 2025? Like have you written down your goals? Do you usually do the whole like 2025 New Year's goals list?
Oh, Amanda, do I do a goals list? Yes. I have
Stupid question.
an entire Notion database dedicated to goals and planning, and it is broken down by quarters. And
Yes, love that.
plan out what are goals and what are projects for the year and whether they're personal or business things. And then it generates a little template where I put in my actions that I need to take, and then I break them down by quarters. And then I set it at the start, and then all I need to do is look at my quarter and see what my actions are for that quarter. And for me, it just the way that my brain works, I just forget about stuff otherwise. I'm like, oh, I forgot that I even wanted to do that and it was important to me, or I forgot that I need to take action on that thing. And honestly, that is just what I've found to be most effective, although the things that I put into it have changed. So, a couple years ago, it was all basically business, and now there's such a big focus on personal life and making sure that my mental health is prioritized and making space, like exactly what you've been talking about. Instead of looking at, oh, okay, how can I train this many times a week and do, like, instead of that, it's about that whole like atomic habits thing of like the outside layer of the onion being like setting your goals around the result versus the next level in, which is setting it around the process of like going to the gym, or the next level in where it's like setting it around the identity, and it's going, how do I shift my identity to be the kind of person that prioritizes mental health, that makes good choices in regards to that. And it's allowing for the fact that, of course, we are going to have days when we go out and have a few drinks, or we are going to, there are going to be moments where it's like, oh, you know what, maybe that isn't going to be the best for my anxiety tomorrow, but it's about going, on the whole, am I being the kind of person that I need to be? And that for me has been a game changer.
Oh, I love that. That's like, it's like it's kind of around the idea of like, you want to achieve a certain result in your business, and you obviously have your strategies and whatnot, but it's about becoming the person first internally in order to like be the person who can actually execute those action points to get those results. And I think so often people have it the other way around, where they're like, well, if I just get the result, then I'll be the person who I need to be once I have the thing. Yeah. It's funny. I actually had I was talking to a student about this in my Facebook group the other day, this exact topic, because she was like, oh, when I have a booked out calendar, then I'll have my systems in place. And I'm like, oh, no. Like, we have our systems in place first to have a booked out calendar. So it's kind of like, so many people think the opposite to that, where it's like, once I get this, then I'll do those habits, or then I'll live a certain way, or then I'll think a certain way. But it's like, you have to become the person internally first in order to curate that in your life.
So much. And also, if you're not doing that, you're opening up all of these subconscious limiting beliefs around like, oh, I can't get that extra work because I wouldn't be able to handle the workload because I don't have the system. So it's just making it so much harder for yourself in terms of self-sabotage if it's about being able to hold more work or hold more clients or hold more money, and expanding your ability to hold that, I think, is such a key part of why we do the breath work, why we do the self-care and all of those things.
Yeah, it's why some people who win the lotto like literally spend it and become broke because they don't know how to hold. They haven't become the person who can hold that amount of money.
Totally.
Like, prime example. Oh, I love that. Well, speaking of systems though, I know you're a massive systems person, and I love that. You inspire me about your systems. Are there any like systems or processes that you're going to be updating for 2025, or things that you're like, oh, let's improve that, or let's introduce that?
Mm, yes. So I think a big focus for me always, but going into 2025 is messaging and just really trying to dial in and optimize my messaging even more and more. And I think you and I have spoken about this so many times about like making sure that we are continuously looking at that and going, okay, cool. How am I attracting new people who are the right fit specifically for what I can serve into my audience? How can I move them through my buyer journey? How can I, activate them and convert them into clients, and just really going through it with a fine tooth comb and just looking and doing data research and market research and pulling all that information together to make sure that, continuously looking at that. So I think that, and then leading into my content creation, I really want to increase the amount of content that I'm doing. I've been sitting, in a certain level for some time, and I feel like I'm ready to go all in with just kind of increasing this even more. And the messaging is going to feed into that part. And I want to get on TikTok as well. So, that's kind of my system and process goals. What about you?
Yeah, very much. I feel like messaging's always on my radar. I think your business results are a result of your messaging and the way that you say things, the way that our business has grown, and the types of clients that we've attracted has all come down to obviously not just the work, like the work attracts clients, but it's how you position yourself with your words and your messaging to those clients. Yeah, I feel like ever since I really put my focus on improving my messaging and my sales skills, like copywriting skills, sales skills, it feels so much easier to attract the kind of clients that we want to attract into our business, because we're so clear on who we want to work with, and that comes down to the messaging. And I feel like when you have so much clarity on not just who you want to attract, but what kind of value that you give, like really understanding like your place in the industry, and this goes for any industry as well, when you understand that you're kind of in your own lane and you're not really in competition with other people, that you embody you embody something that no one else can embody, or like no one else can offer. And when you really own that, I think that's been a massive game changer for me, because I feel like even though there are so many other people who do what we do, I feel like we're in our own lane. I'm like just so, I guess, comfortable in where we are because of our messaging as well, if that makes sense.
Totally.
So yeah, messaging's always a priority, and improving that. But also like just the little things with systems, like I want to update our contracts, like I want to update the portfolio on the website. I haven't really done that in a while. Even look at things like Instagram highlight covers, Instagram bio, like just little bits and pieces, like little touch points here and there that clients will interact with. So kind of thinking holistically and being like, what are all the touch points in our business? Is there anything that we can do to improve these touch points? Because it all adds to that customer journey at the end of the day. But yeah, those are my systems and processes. And very
You guys have been working on them for a long time. I know that you have a lot dialed in, so don't sell yourself short.
Yeah. Yeah, this is true. I like, even Alistair and I were talking the other day about our pre-production, and considering I used to do pre-production in a notebook, and I used to write down descriptions of photos that I would do that the client wouldn't even see. This was like when I first started, and now it's like every client has, it could be like 1 or 2 pre-production calls before we even do the shoot. It's so detailed. So we're really proud of like our pre-production system and process. And I think that's something that sets us apart a lot, is how we handle that, if I do say so myself.
And I have seen your Miller note boards, and they are wild. So like, yeah, that is goals, girl. Love it. Love.
I love a good Miller note board.
Let's talk about money. I would love to know money. Yeah, I know we like talking about money, but where are you at with what you're planning mindset wise around money leading into the new year, your like financial goals, or I guess like if we talk about your relationship, how's that developed this year, and like what's your relationship with money going into the new year?
Yeah. So the main thing for me this year, like the main theme with money was releasing daily worry about money. So it was like back in May, and I was really, every day I would just worry about money. And I realized that comes from my childhood. So my father was always stressed and worried about money, which obviously he would have gotten from his parents. And when you're constantly exposed to that as a child, that kind of becomes like your norm. Like that's how you're conditioned to think about money. And I never really released it. I've done a lot of money mindset work over the years, but I never really felt like I released it. And I got really over it. It's like, even though there's money in the bank, I can see it's like, we're not going broke anytime soon. We're very comfortable financially, but I still found myself every day stressing about money. It's like that was where my energy was going. And it put me in a scarcity mindset very often. And so I was like, I'm over this. Like, not doing this anymore. So I did something and I released it. It's more along the lines of like cognitive psychology. So I was kind of researching techniques around cognitive behavioral psychology to help me release this thing that I just felt was constantly on my shoulders around money. And I have not felt that worry since I did that. So I feel like I was able to properly release that this year, which has been like for me a massive internal win, because my whole life was like that. And I guess just focusing on my ability to, any time that I want, I can go out there and generate income, and like having that confidence in yourself that, you know, if you want to go out there and bring in a client or call in some money, like I can do that. Like I have all the trust in myself to be able to do that. And I feel like that's been years of doing a lot of money mindset work to get to that point. So that was like my theme for this year. But in terms of like money as well, we're looking at setting ourselves up for future. So I would say our goals are more along the lines of how can we secure us in 20, 30 years time, rather than focusing on specific income goals in the short term. So we've just bought 2 properties this week, which is
amazing.
Wild. I'm just like,
I'm so excited for you.
What is life? So that feels really good to be able to secure future, like Amanda and Alistair, to build up this property portfolio and have different assets, basically. So, and I never would have worked this out if we didn't, like, we've hired someone to financially consult with us around property. I was like, this is why you invest in like mentors, because you don't know what they know. Like they give you all these shortcuts. And I was like, there's no way that neither of us would have been able to do this quickly as well. Like that's the whole point of investing, right? Is you get to take shortcuts. That's kind of like another lesson, I guess, as well, as when you invest your money in certain places, you're investing in a shortcut so that you can set yourself up. And I think when you're looking at your income goals, it's like, where can I invest in order to call in more money? Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. And can we just take a minute to give you a congratulations, because 2 properties, that is absolutely incredible. And I'm just so excited for you guys, and like really just getting into the property market. This is your 3rd property now. So yeah, that's just so cool. And it's so inspiring. I'm really proud of you.
Thanks. It feels like we're playing Monopoly.
Yeah.
It's like adult Monopoly. And I had no idea that I think getting into the property market is the hardest thing. And obviously choosing the right properties and everything like that. But we just had so much equity with this current place that we're in that it's like that sets you up for expanding your wealth in other properties. I was like, oh, that's how that works. Like, that's how people do it. I was like, I feel like I've unlocked a secret to life or something that like people just wonder about.
Yeah. And every property coach is just like, oh yeah, obviously. And it's just so true. It's like you get support, and you literally can get so much further than you ever thought you could. without having to figure out the how.
Oh my God, there is no way I would have been able to do this by myself. No possible way. Yeah.
That's so exciting.
What about you though? What's on your radar for money in 2025, or even like how has 2024 been with your money mindset?
Yeah, I think it's been interesting actually this year. Last year I had my most successful year to date in business. This year wasn't quite as good as last year, but last year I was running the construction company as well as the new brand, and I was very burnt out delivering that much client work. And I think this year launching my course for the first time, and I guess opening up an avenue for scalability and having a product that can scale for the first time, it took a lot of time to build that and to do these launches. And it has definitely taken me away from delivering client work at certain points throughout the year. So for me, now I've got that product, it's built. I don't need to do a lot of work to maintain it. It's about just getting back into, I guess, sustainability in my business, because this year has felt very up and down in terms of revenue, if I'm totally honest. And now I've got the product, I'm like, okay, cool. Let's just strip everything back, just focus on the core products that I sell as well as the course, and just start to kind of like build back up again, because it's been a bit of a roller coaster in terms of that. Also, I recently went to a retreat, and I've always wondered what my money mindset is, and I've listened to podcasts, I've read books, and I've been like, I don't know what my money mindset is. I've had my corporate career and I was on a good wicket and had a lot of disposable income then, and like I never felt like I couldn't make money. I liked having money. I don't have any issues spending money. So I was like, I don't know what my mindset is. And then I did a retreat recently, and one of the coaches spoke about money mindset, and I realized that I have an issue holding money. I like to spend money too much. And so I think just having that corporate life for so long, and then just kind of just being like, I just buy whatever I want. And then I've just got this mindset over time that I just buy shit that I don't need. And so for me, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm bringing awareness to this now. I have so much capacity to hold more money, like to keep more of the money that I make, and, build my wealth by doing that, as well as, all the other stuff. So I think I'm going through a bit of a change in terms of how I think about money, how I think about wealth, and just kind of refocusing on what I need to do moving forward. So it's been a bit of a journey.
Does that kind of come from like, I just like spending money because it feels good to spend money? Is that where that mindset, like you enjoy spending money?
Yeah, I enjoy shopping. Yes. But saying that, like I don't go wild with shopping, but like I love buying camera gear. I love solving problems. I love buying things that make my life easier. So if there is like some kind of solution to a problem that I have, even if it's such a small problem, I don't really need to buy the thing. In the past, I have maybe bought it on Amazon, or like, there's a lot of Amazon deliveries coming to our house, put it that way. And so, I think that it's just been a bit of a reset for me, and there's been a bit of growth from, do I actually need this? And just, I guess, probably a bit of the dopamine hit from spending as well. So,
I mean, we love that dopamine hit, especially when it comes up on our doorstep.
I know.
You know what, though? Alistair's very much like that too. He loves buying new gear, and like if he's got a problem, he'll be like, oh, let me just invest in this thing that's going to solve my problem.
Totally. And then there's you, who's like, well, like in the past, no, we shouldn't buy that, like you don't need that extra camera, you don't need that extra light, or
I haven't bought new gear since I don't remember when, and the amount of gear he's bloody bought, I'm like, I need, in his defense, light, babe, for this
video.
For this video, I need to be able to do this. I'm like, fuck's sake, like, and it's like, and it's not cheap, it's like $1,000 here, $2,000 there, and he's like, but I really need it. I'm like, okay, Fine. He doesn't sound
my
like I'm just
gosh.
mocking him.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, amazing. Well, last question. Is there anything else that you are focusing on coming into the new year?
I think the only other thing that I've decided to do, and I know this isn't everyone's cup of tea, but I'm just curious. I've booked in to see a psychic in the new year. And I was going to do it last year because I felt like I didn't have a lot of clarity last year on certain things, mainly to do with business. So I'm like, you know what? This year I'm going to go see a psychic. I'm going to hear what she's got to say. So I'm just really interested to be like, is there anything that I should put on my radar? Anything that I should, I guess, be more aware about during the year, or, you know, certain opportunities, things like that, both to do with business and personal. So I'm excited to
That
hear
is so cool.
what my
I cannot
future
wait
is.
to hear about this experience. I've heard so many people talk about psychic readings recently, and they've all just been like, how there's no way that they could have known that thing, or it's just blown their mind. So I'm very excited.
I can't wait. Or maybe we'll have to do another episode about it.
Yes, a debrief.
Yeah, debrief. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm so here for it. That's amazing.
What about you? Is there anything else that is on your radar for 2025, or things that you want to do to really set you up for success?
Yeah, I think Brogan and I are just going to join a gym together. And now that we're at the coast, which we've never done together before, and I've always wanted to, and I've always kind of like done my strength training. He's done triathlons, and so we've done very different types of exercise, but we're actually going to do something together. So really pumped to go and be gym whores for a little while, and we're just going to go around to the main ones and see which ones we like, and then just go and get fit together, which is like a new era we've never done. I'm so excited.
Enjoy the Gold Coast lifestyle. Like,
yeah,
that's so exciting.
love. Oh my gosh. Well, we hope that you guys enjoyed today's episode, and we hope that it's got you thinking about all of the things that you want to take into the new year, things you want to leave behind, and what you want to be doing in terms of planning for your business. So if you love this episode, don't forget to hit that follow button and give us a review, because it really helps us to grow and reach more amazing people like you, especially when we are in the early days of our podcast. And if you're watching this on YouTube or Spotify, then let us know in the comments. Do you have any questions or key takeaways about today's episode that you'd like to share?
Yeah. Anything that you guys are doing as well to prepare your business or your personal life for 2025. I think the Christmas period is the perfect time to just create space and recalibrate and reboot. But thanks for joining us, guys, and we will see you on the next episode.
Yeah, and the next episode, we have something pretty exciting for you. So I am going to be interviewing Amanda about her business and her life, and you are going to be getting the juice behind the scenes in her world. So you definitely want to make sure that you're following so that you do not miss when it drops.
All right. Thanks, guys. We will see you soon.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.